going to be very honest with you when I say that before you decide whether or not you want to go to law school, you really need to ask yourself some questions and think about it deeply, because it is a huge commitment and investment of both time and money, especially money. And there are also pros and cons that you need to consider. But anyway, hello, my name is Michaela, and if you are new here, welcome. And if you've been here before, welcome back. I make academic videos and lifestyle videos, and today I'm making a video on law school and whether or not you should go. By no means should I be like your final authority on this. It's your decision. Even if everything I say in this video points towards you not going to law school, that doesn't mean you shouldn't go necessarily. So take this with a grain of salt. I'm going to ask 21 questions, and I'd really recommend making this video a quiz of sorts. Have a pen and paper out and write down yes or no to each of the 21 questions, and then at the end you can go through and visually see how many yeses you have relative to the number of no's. And then at the end I'll talk about the results of the quiz. So starting off with question number 1. To some degree, do you enjoy studying for the LSAT? Assuming that you're seriously considering law school, you might have already tried to answer some LSAT questions. And I'm not saying it's important to be interested in studying for the LSAT. LSAT is such a small portion of law school in the big picture. It doesn't matter ultimately whether you like it or not, but it's a similar type of logic that you're going to face in the law school classroom and with issue spotters. Studying for the LSAT is painful all around, but if there are occasions when you're feeling motivated and you're kind of enjoying the study questions, that's a really good sign. Do you thrive in a competitive grading structure? I'm not going to call it a competitive classroom because people in law school tend to be very supportive and friendly, in my experience, but nevertheless, the grading system itself is so competitive. The curved classes for law school are really cruel, I think. It hurts a lot of people's self-esteem when they get their grades back for the first time. If you're not fond of that type of academic system, then you're not going to have as much fun in law school. Do you enjoy heavy reading? Reading is fundamental to law school. 90% of the time, it's cases. You're just reading case law. If you're not a big reader, I genuinely don't think you're going to enjoy law school very much, unfortunately. And then question number 4, can you write concisely and clearly? One thing I will say is that this can be a learned trait, because for me, I was a creative writing major when I was an undergrad, and I like to write colorfully. I like to write with lots of flowery language, and my very first legal writing assignment, I did not do so hot, and that was because I was trained to write creative writing. I was able to improve over the years. So the point is, if you can't write concisely now, you can teach yourself, absolutely. But if it's already a yes, that you're already good at writing concisely and clearly, that's just a good sign. Do you enjoy flowchart style analyses? If you're trying to make a decision, do you enjoy having all these different steps? Like, oh, if you say yes here, you have to continue to this analysis. If you say no here, you continue here. Because a lot of legal analyses depend on steps, like tests. You have to go through the test, go through the analysis to come to the answer. And if you enjoy that kind of flowchart style analysis, if it just meshes well with your mind, that's a good sign. Question number 6, do you enjoy networking? Networking is huge. It's a huge part of the law school culture, but it is what it is. Question 7 is important because are you able to separate what you think should be right from what is right? Law is a chance to change the world, obviously. That's what most of us talk about to some degree in our essays when we apply to law school. But at the same time, you can't just change the law with a snap of your fingers, and you have to argue with certain legal frameworks that you may not agree with. If that bothers you to an extent that you're going to hate what you're doing, I mean, it's just so much of law, both procedurally and substantively. You often have to argue in a way that you don't want to. So that's just really good to know before going to law school. Number 8, is there an area of justice, governance, compliance, or procedure that you feel passionate about? You don't have to go into law school knowing what field you want to practice in, but if you do, I think overall it just shows that if you're interested in a niche area of law, then you're probably going to be interested in law school as an institution altogether. Number 9, do you handle cold calls well, and can you speak publicly with confidence? A lot of law school is going to be speaking in front of your peers when you're not ready to speak in front of your peers, because the professor will say, Michaela, what is this? And then I say an answer in which I attempt to sound like I really know what I'm talking about, when a lot of the time I don't know what I'm talking about, and that's what we're all doing in law school. Everyone gets a cold call that they don't know how to answer. If you don't like the idea of being cold called, or having to speak in front of a lot of people, like for moot court, that's kind of a big aspect of law school. Are you comfortable reading about tragic, disturbing, unjust, racist, appalling facts and opinions. Legal history in the US, as with the rest of the world, is not pretty. There are a lot of opinions that are truly awful, and they're awful to read. And then modern opinions as well, they can be really tragic events, especially torts and criminal law. You'll have to read some pretty horrific things. If you feel really sensitive to that type of material and that you're not going to love it and it's going to hurt you, you may not want law school. Are you organized and a good note taker? If you want to succeed in law school, you have to organize your notes. Outlining. It's like it's the basic conversation starter in law school. Like you're walking down the hallway with someone and you say, "Oh, have you started your outline for this yet?" And the other person says, "Oh, no, I've been meaning to start." That's just like stereotypical conversation. Number 12, do you have an interest in tracing history? A lot of classes, it's really important to understand how case law evolves, even if you're reading a case that's no longer good law. Maybe it's been overruled, but you still have to understand how it is in history, how it fits in history. And a lot of it, especially con law, you have to know history as well. Property, also very important. Are you all right with engaging in political conversation? Politics come up a lot. Law school tends to be a very liberal environment, so it's really great if you are also liberal because you fit right in. I would imagine it's probably a little bit trickier for conservatives, but either way, no matter your political ideology, you still have to engage in these political conversations, and if you don't like that, it's hard to do law without doing politics, unfortunately. Number 14, are you okay with a weak social life? This is not to say you won't have a social life at all. You will still have one, but it's going to be very diminished, and I can't go out much. I can't do multiple social events in 1 week purely because I have so much work to do. There's no possible way to do a ton of social events as well. I mean, this of course really depends on also your priorities and how long it takes you to do homework and what other obligations you have in life, but for the most part, it is hard to have a very rich social life while being in law school. Number 15, do you have strong interpersonal skills, and are you comfortable building relationships with people? This goes for law school, but even more so for being a lawyer. You have to have a personality that lets people trust you. Trust is foundational to an attorney-client relationship. If you really struggle with those interpersonal skills, law school is going to be very challenging for you. Can you take on both academic and leadership responsibilities simultaneously? This is just step 0 of getting a 1L summer job, a 2L summer job. You have to show some leadership at law school. Well, you don't have to, but it's a really good idea to also show leadership as well as strong academic skills, whether that's participating in clubs, being on journal, doing moot court, that kind of stuff. You have to be able to balance leadership and academics. Number 17, can you enjoy a more high school academic environment? Law school is very different from undergrad, a majority of undergrads, because it's so much larger, and it really does, for a lot of people I've talked to, it takes us back to high school, being in that intimate environment. You're in the same building all day long. You know a lot of the people around you. It's different in many ways, of course, but if you like that intimate environment at high school, then you're probably more likely to enjoy the climate at law school. Number 18, can you decipher and retain lots of information at once, and especially the details? Being able to read quickly, effectively, and to absorb it is so crucial to being a good lawyer and to being a good law student as well. If you have a natural skill for that, that's a good reason to go to law school. 19, do you have an eye for nitpicky grammatical details and sentence structures? Especially if you want to clerk for a judge, be on journal, that kind of thing, you have to be able to do correct citations. Citations are really important. The Blue Book is very important. The Blue Book is like the sacred text of law school, and if you're good at grammar, then that's a plus for you. Number 20, do you enjoy independent research? You're gonna have to do a lot of research assignments, and you're going to be spending a lot of time on either Westlaw or LexisNexis. The two, it's the bread and butter for researching legal opinions and law journals, that kind of stuff, Hein Online. And yeah, I mean, you gotta do a lot of independent research, both as a student and as a lawyer, and if you really enjoy that, that's a good sign that law school is for you. Question 21, is your interest piqued when you hear about Supreme Court news or bills getting passed by Congress or lawsuits in general? And this is just really, I think, basic law. Are you interested in law? Do you find that news interesting? Do you like reading books on it? If you don't, if you find it terribly boring, I don't know why you'd want to go to law school. So before you go back through and look at your yeses and nos, I also just want to go over some pros and cons so that you get the full picture of law school before you do your full analysis and kind of decide if you want to go there or not. I'll go through these more quickly, but pros. You can go no matter what your major is. Like I said, I majored in creative writing. Anything, they'll take you. They will take you. It's just grades and LSAT that's really most important. Number 2, a JD is a well-regarded degree. It's still going to be valuable even if you don't end up being a lawyer. You can still get in places with it. So that's kind of great. It's versatile a little bit in that sense. It just opens up a lot of doors in general. income. Being a lawyer, you're going to get a good salary, and that's a pro. It's a mature, friendly, supportive atmosphere. Maybe people would disagree with me on this. My personal experience, I found everyone to be so caring and kind and genuinely just amazing people to get to know, and I really enjoy talking to my classmates. If you join the law school community, you'll get to forge friendships that will last a lifetime. The opportunity to have a real world impact. You can go to sleep knowing you're making a difference in the world. And for some lawyers, it may not be a good difference. It might be making a bad difference in the world. I'm not going to lie about that. A lot of lawyers do really bad things, but we have to have those lawyers. For the justice system to work, it rests upon this idea that even the worst criminals will have a lawyer. The fact that we have this system in place is what allows us to have justice at all. So do with that what you will, but I think it's a pro that we can make a difference in the world. You won't be bored. Law school is hard, and challenges will keep you from being bored. The cons. Number one, the costs. A lot of people are still in law school debt years after graduating. So even though there's that high income, it does not negate the fact you're going to be deeply in debt unless you get a scholarship or really great financial aid. The whole way through, the LSAT is expensive, law school is expensive, the bar exam is expensive, your books are, everything is expensive. Also costs in the time commitment, because you really do have to put your life on hold. Like I mentioned, you're not going to probably have a crazy jam-packed social life while you're in law school, and it can be really hard to spend time with family. It can be really hard to spend time with yourself, like doing your hobbies that you love. You might have to put your hobbies on hold for a little while. Sorry, my fridge just started humming. There are heavy curves, hard grades. I already described that in the question, but that's definitely a con. It's a lot of stress with exams as well. Big law pressure. If you go to law school, at least at BU, where I go to law school, there's this big push to big law. It's a lot of the networking events are with big law firms. There's not as much encouragement to go into smaller firms or even mid-sized firms. So a lot of students feel this pressure to be at the top firms. Maybe I read into it too much, but that's just been what I've thought. Most jobs post-law school will require a poor work-life balance. It depends on what you end up doing. Some lawyers go into a small firm, for example, and they might have all the time in the world, but most lawyers really don't have a good work-life balance. So that's a huge con to consider. And lastly, the imposter syndrome. Going to law school, it makes you feel like an idiot quite often. And I really hope I'm not alone in this, because this would be a little bit embarrassing to admit if I am alone in this, but I feel really stupid often when I'm in law school, because I'll hear other people answer in the classroom, or like I said, I'll be cold called, and I give the most awful answer on some occasions, and it makes me feel really bad about myself. Law school, it's like it tries to humble you as much as it can. Again, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm really bad at law school or something, but at least from all the people I've talked to, we all feel that way. Everyone feels like they're doing badly, and law school is just designed that way. It's just a good con to know about before you go. With those pros and cons in mind, I would say if you're looking at your answers from 1 to 21, and if you have, I don't want to give a number because I don't want people to take this too seriously. And again, if you have one yes, you can still go. You probably won't like it, but you can still go. You may still succeed in everything. I mean, if you have I'd say, okay, I want to give a specific number. Don't take it too seriously, but I would say if you have fewer than 8 yeses, then law school may not be as good for you. If you have 8 to 15, it's a definite possibility. And if you have more than 15, I think it should be a definite consideration for you. These are so arbitrary. I'm making up these numbers on the spot. I would make a terrible judge. Hopefully it's helpful, at least. Hopefully it makes you feel like you have a better sense of what law school is like and whether or not it would be a good fit for you. If you do end up going, I wish you the best of luck. I really love law school. Yeah, I hope you also choose to go to law school, no matter how many yeses you have on this list. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week.